Okay, the meeting is called to order for April 15th. Madam Clerk, pledge please.
Councilman Asbell?
Present.
Councilman Buddy?
Present.
Councilman Chatelain?
Present.
Councilman Johnston?
Present.
Councilman Wheeler?
Present.
Mayor Bodier?
Present.
Police Chief Walker?
Here.
Fire Chief St. Cyr?
Present.
Finance Director Todd Tunion is absent. And City Attorney Scott Stansberry. Municipal Clerk Nicole Lee is present.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to take up executive session before special presentations.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to move executive session to before special presentations.
Second.
Second by who? Second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Agenda is now amended. Okay, so I'll hold my comments, and if you want, we can go now.
Let's do that.
Okay? All right. We won't be long. Okay, Madam Clerk, it's 7:12. The meeting is now called back to order.
Mr. Mayor, coming out of executive session, I'd like to make a motion to instruct the city clerk to remove litigation case number 7, David Trepanier versus the Harahan City Council. Seeing as that case has been dismissed in the district court, I feel like it should be removed.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please remove. One more time, what was that, Councilman Asbill?
Number
I'll
7.
Number 7.
I second the motion.
All right, we have a second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. So moved. Okay. We're going to go to special presentations. All right. Chief Walker? Patrick, I think, is coming in under,
But he could do a special presentation.
okay.
Good evening.
Chief, 1 second, please. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to add Dino Bonanno to special presentations number 2.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to add Dino Bonanno, special presentation number 2. We have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays, so moved. You want Matty? I also have a motion on the floor by Councilman Wheeler to,
He's number 2.
okay,
He's gonna be number 2, you first.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I'm
All
sorry.
right. Good evening, Mayor,
Stand up there.
Mayor, Council, viewing public. First, I want to start off with, first part of the presentation, Mr. and Mrs. Ricks to step up, please. Mike, how you doing? Darlene, how you doing? To make the presentation of Mr. and Mrs. Ricks, they own Soundworks. They came to us last year, and they designed and constructed and erected at no charge for Harahan Police Department the new sign that's outside in front of the police station. I want to thank them very much. It's a very costly sign. They took down the old sign that was on this side of the building that wasn't operative, and we've got a nice new decorative sign that points out where the police department is. I want to thank you all very, very much. Put your wife in the middle. Yeah, sure. And I'll read what's on there if you don't mind. Okay. Harahan Police Department, in recognition of Michael Ricks, Soundworks, and Mrs. Ricks for your generous donations, time, and support of the men and women of the Harahan Police Department. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Second, Ms. Jeremy with the Harahan Lions Club wants to make a small presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Chief, thank you. My name is Angel Sheremy. I am a member of the Harahan Lions Club. I'm here to announce our fair, our craft fair we're going to be having, but first I want to just let you know a little bit about the Lions Club. The Lions Club works to help the special needs and the Lions Eye Foundation. We recycle eyeglasses at the Harahan Lions Club, and send to the Lions Eye Foundation to be shipped to the needy all over the world. We are in the process of now making some updates to the club, and we also have a small room that's available to rent for small parties or meetings, if anyone's interested. I wanted to let everyone know about our craft fair, May 1st. It will be at the Lions Club from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We will be raffling off a beautiful basket full of gift certificates and gifts valued over $400. All mothers will receive a free ticket when entering the craft show. I have some flyers here that we're going to pass out, and I will have in the back if anyone is interested. If anyone has any questions or is interested in joining the club, we would love to have you. We have a Facebook page, and you can give us a call anytime. Thank you.
Sure. Did you want to talk about that?
Well,
That's it.
But to the people, yeah, okay.
Thank you, Ms. Angel.
Okay. In 2021, Harahan Police Department instituted Officer of the Month, and the recommendations are made by their supervisors. So we're going to cover January, February, and March of this year, Officer of the Month. First one is Officer John Dunning. He's our K-9 police officer. He and his partner Ellie are very proactive with the enforcement throughout the city. On January 6, 2021, at apparently 12:14 a.m., Officer Dunning conducted a traffic stop at Hickory and 10th Street. While writing the driver citation for speeding, Officer Dunning observed the passenger leaning forward and appearing to be reaching under the seat. Officer Dunning approached the passenger side of the vehicle. He observed the passenger looking to the passenger side mirror. So the passenger is in the back looking out the mirror trying to find out where the officer's at. He noticed this. He walks up, kind of gets a drop on this person, and saw what he appeared to be a handgun on this individual between the person's legs. Officer Dunning illuminated his flashlight, and the subject immediately dropped the weapon on the floorboard and raised his hands. This resulted in the arrest of a subject recovering 2.5 grams of marijuana, a Ruger loaded pistol with 35 rounds of hollow point ammunition. Subject was arrested for possession of marijuana as well as being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm. Records show this individual had made numerous arrests in the past for burglary, theft, possession, and intent to distribute narcotics. Officer Dunning is commended for staying alert, noticing suspicious movements of the subject, and stopping a potential dangerous situation from occurring, keeping himself and assisting officers' safety. Okay. February 2021, it's Officer Nick Schneider. Officer Schneider has been an extremely proactive member of the department, consistently making traffic stops and enforcing traffic laws within the city. One of the biggest complaints throughout Harahan. These traffic stops often lead to more. On Thursday, February 4th, 2021, at approximately 13:39 hours, Officer Schneider conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle on 1800 block of Hickory Avenue. The driver of the vehicle was found to be in possession of a loaded handgun, which had been stolen out of Kenner, 55 grams of marijuana, a digital scale, which suggested the individual had been selling narcotics. The driver was arrested for possession with the intent to distribute a Schedule I controlled dangerous substance, possession of drug paraphernalia, use of a firearm in the presence of a controlled dangerous substance, illegal possession of a stolen firearm. Records show this individual had been arrested numerous times in the past for possession of stolen property, theft, resisting an officer, and robbery. Officer Schneider is commended for his dedication to the Harahan Police Department, his excellent work ethic, and his constant strive to do more. March 2021, it's Officer Eddie Selvey. Officer Selvey is a new member of the Harahan Police Department, graduated from the police department in November of 2020, where he's bestowed with an award for his proficiency in firearms during his training. On Monday, March 15, 2021, at approximately 14:50 hours, Officer Silva was dispatched to the area of O'Kay Avenue and Madison Streets in reference to two suspicious individuals. After locating and speaking with individuals, one was found to be in possession of 1.6 grams of marijuana, 0.6 of a gram of heroin, and 11.5 doses of Xanax, short-action tranquilizer. The individuals were arrested for possession of narcotics and transported to Justice Parish Correctional Center. Records show this individual had been arrested numerous times in the past for narcotics, burglary, theft, and battery. On Tuesday, March 16, 2021, Officer Siv was dispatched to handle a complaint regarding a FedEx delivery vehicle backing into a resident's cast-iron mailbox, causing it to break beyond repair, then leaving the scene without notifying the homeowner of the damage. After taking the hit-and-run report, Officer Siv searched the city for the FedEx vehicle, eventually locating the vehicle which caused the damage to the resident's mailbox. Although the driver of the suspect vehicle had changed once, Officer Silva was able to locate it. He took the initiative in contacting FedEx in order to obtain the information needed for the victim to file a claim with the company and have their property replaced. Officer Silva is commended for his professionalism, positive attitude, and his eagerness to work and learn. As we mentioned, a lot of these traffic stops are turning into narcotics arrests, but more importantly, a lot of these traffic stops with narcotics are coming up with a lot of firearms lately. Okay, I also want to note that on this Saturday, April 24th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're having our semi-annual drug take-back program with the DEA. Facility is going to be at the lobby at the Harahan Police Department, 6441 Jefferson Highway, and Walgreens Pharmacy in the parking lot at 8225 Jefferson Highway. Both these facilities, Walgreens and the police department, have drop boxes, so if you miss that Saturday, April 24th, you can drop off your unwanted drugs at that time, at any other time. And our lobby is open 24/7. As I mentioned in the last meeting, we've been having a safe zone in Harahan since I've been here the last 6.5 years. So if anybody, you want to meet somebody that's unknown to conduct any kind of legal transaction, feel free to use our parking lot. It's under 24-hour surveillance, or you can go into our lobby. Okay. And then, Mayor, are you going to talk about the music festival? Are you going to bring it up later? And the parade? Okay. All right.
Trying to get me in trouble there. Just when I was getting ready to commend you, and trying to throw me
All
under
right.
the bus over here.
And I want to wish
Stay
all the
incognito.
mothers a happy Mother's Day this May. Thank you.
No, give me a second. No, I'll do it.
Okay, Councilman District 2, Mr. Dino Bonanno.
Mr. Mayor, esteemed members of the council members, citizens of Harahan, thank you all for having me here tonight. I come here tonight because during my campaign to become Jefferson Parish's councilman for District 2, I made a commitment to the citizens of Harahan that before I would fund any projects in the city, that I would give the citizens an opportunity to comment on, question me, anything they want to discuss before we funded it. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic in 2020, the council's discretionary funds were decimated, so there's very few dollars last year. But now that we're coming out of the pandemic, we do have some funds becoming available. And for me, one of the greatest priorities is when I met with Chief Saints here, and he shared with me the condition of his communications equipment that they rely on with their radios and all the stuff in their truck to communicate. As a firefighter myself, I can tell you that is probably the #1 tool that a firefighter carries into a fire. You go into a structure fire at night, the smoke is so dark and thick, you can't see the hand in front of your face. So if you get trapped, you have an emergency, you need to call for a second line to come assist you, that's the only way you're going to communicate, is through that radio. So they need that equipment. I told the chief when I saw how old this equipment was, and by the way, when I was Parish's Homeland Security equipment, I bought those radios from him in 15 years ago in like 2006. That's how old they are. They are a generation older than every other radio system used by first responders in Jefferson Parish. I don't know if I'd feel safe going into a fire with that. So for me in Harahan, that is a greatest priority. So I committed to the chief that we would spend $72,000 to buy all of his firefighters the latest generation of radios so that they would be safe going into fire. So Mr. Mayor and the council, the chief, anybody wants to comment, anybody has any concerns about that, please let me know. I put it on Facebook a couple days ago, and surprisingly, all I got was overwhelming support from the citizens of Harahan for this new equipment. So if no one has any concerns, we're going to move forward to the next council meeting to purchase those radios for you guys.
Well, Councilman Bonanno, you know, we went through, I came in just prior to you coming in, and we went through the pandemic together. And I just, I want to thank you, and even though we could not meet face-to-face as much as we wanted to, you were always there every time I picked up the phone. And man, I would thank you for that. Thank you for being that support for us, because it's been incredible.
The news looks good for Jefferson Parish. Today we got our latest sales tax report. Our sales taxes are up almost 8% for this same period in 2021, and they were in 2020. And keep in mind, that's January through March. So that didn't even include the pandemic, so things look good for Jefferson. Today, the Nike outlet store actually moved. They closed their location in New Orleans and moved to Jefferson because people think Jefferson is a better place for their businesses. So every day we see more and more of that. So I think the future looks good for Jefferson as well as Harahan. I look forward to you all working with you all to make Harahan a better place.
For us,
in
it
the
was
next few
important
years.
that you were just a friend,
Yep,
that you were
absolutely.
there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before I leave, can I have a minute of personal
Sure, you can.
privilege?
Yes, sir.
I was privileged to shoot in a charity skeet shooting event about a month ago. And present with me was several members of your esteemed council as your mayor and Councilwoman Wheeler, who has never, by the way, shot before, never hunted before, outscored Councilman Chatelaine. By the end of the day, grew up hunting and fishing all his life. So in case you want to know what our next priority is, it's a new set of glasses for Councilman Chatelaine. So the next time we shoot, he doesn't have an excuse. Thank you all for having me here tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes. Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on March 18th.
Okay, so do I have a motion on the floor to approve those minutes? Motion by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor?
Public hearing.
I'm sorry, we have to open for public hearing. Anyone who wants to speak about those minutes? All right, no one coming forth. The public hearing is now closed. We have motion on the floor by Councilman, what was it again?
Chatelain.
Chatelain, and second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Minutes are approved.
And approval of the minutes of the council meeting on March 18th.
So can I get a motion for the motion by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Johnson, to approve the minutes of the council meeting on March 18th, 2021. We have them open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak on those minutes? All right, no one coming forward to speak. We'll close that public hearing. All right, all in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. So moved. Madam
And
Clerk.
Communications. Reading of the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on April 7th.
Okay. Do I have a motion on the floor to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the Planning and Zoning? Motion by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Asbill. Open for public hearing. About anyone want to speak on the Planning and Zoning meetings? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. So moved.
And approval of the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on April 7th.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Buddy, second by Councilman Johnson. I'll now open for public hearing. Anyone want to discuss approval of those minutes? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. So moved. Madam Clerk.
All right, resolutions. Proposed resolution number 2021-3. The following resolution was offered by Councilman, you guys want to do this unanimous?
Sure.
Was offered unanimously by the council. A resolution authorizing and instructing the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Harahan to hold a public hearing on the potential adoption of an amended and restated development for the residential and commercial redevelopment of the former Colonial Golf and Country Club, the amended and restated development agreement.
Okay, so we'll now open for public hearing. Anyone who will discuss the proposed resolution? All right, no one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a motion on the floor to accept. I mean,
Discussion, please.
you want to discuss?
Yes,
All right.
please.
Council discussion?
Just so the public's aware, this is a new resolution sending the ADA back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for reconsideration because they didn't have a quorum at their last meeting because, in my view, and I think, and I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but in my view, there were some bad actors on the Planning and Zoning who would rather obstruct rather than let citizens be heard about this topic. And that's exactly what they did. They prevented the rights of citizens to be heard that night, and it's unfortunate that it happened. I think there's some discussion that needs to be had on whether the date, whether May is the proper time. I think it is, but if somebody else has discussion on that, please. Okay.
So we
I
talk-
think it's premature by a month, but that's just my thoughts.
Well, when will that next meeting be
It's
held?
May 5th, if I'm
May
not
5th, that is
mistaken.
correct, okay. Just following.
I will double check. It is May 5th, Wednesday, May 5th.
All right, so can I get a motion for proposed?
Did we open a
We're
public
gonna,
hearing?
we did.
Which, your other option would be to push it back?
They could potentially, if it was proposed, to push it back to the June meeting. Is that what your concern was, Mr. Biden?
Yeah, I think there's been some discussion. I know earlier this week, I got some comments from the city's engineers. And I don't believe anybody other than I have seen them. I'm not sure, the mayor probably got a copy of them.
Yes, sir, I did.
And there's some other changes that the developers and I spoke about with the mayor, and some just purely cleanup issues. But I think to go to planning and zoning, I don't think this document's going to be the document. So then I think it's going to have to go back again.
So
That's just my thoughts. So
what
I
if it
think-
would go to planning and zone and they mark it up too?
Well, that is a possibility.
Make a recommendation.
They vote to make a recommendation. That's planning and zoning's job.
We're not going to take comments from the crowd. If you want to come up, I'll reopen, address the meeting, and you can re-come up if you'd like, because we're going to try to keep this meeting in control, unlike what happened at the planning and zoning meeting. Okay. That's okay. But you're more than welcome to come up.
Yeah,
I'll
do you
reopen
wanna
it up.
speak?
I move
Do you
that
wanna
we
speak?
reopen the
Let's
public
reopen.
hearing.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Councilman
I'll
Buddy,
second.
second by Councilman Wheeler to reopen public hearing.
I was
Yes.
just gonna ask, if you guys introduce it May 5th, does that mean it can then go to a vote at the next council meeting, or?
That's correct.
That is correct.
It is correct.
Yes.
So in my opinion, if there are gonna be changes, and I know I have some concerns, which I'll talk about later, it makes sense to wait till June, but.
Could you state your name and address?
Oh, yeah, Tommy Hughes, 15 Colonial Lane, the Colonial Grove subdivision. Yeah.
So, Mr. Thomas, we would love to have your comments, however you want to put them. Do you want to come meet with us, talk to us? I mean, we're an open book. This is going to
Yeah.
affect the entire community. And
Sure.
I've had meetings with members of the community that I don't really sometimes see eye to eye with.
Sure.
But on this one, we decided to put all our differences together and try to come together on this project. And then we agreed to not see eye to eye later on. But for now, we're going to try to see eye to eye on this project.
No, and you guys have been great, you've answered all my questions.
Yeah,
and
you've
we've-
reached out.
Yeah, no, it's.
My door is
been-
always open, just
it's
as
been
well as
great.
it's
been
always
great.
open to anyone who wants to
I
come speak
just
to me
want to
about
leave
this.
enough time to,
Sure.
if there are changes, that we don't rush it, I guess is all
Right.
I'm saying. That's just my thoughts.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank
I-
you,
And I
Mr.
will speak if the proposal, what is it, 2021-8?
Yeah, so we're
Yes.
going to consider, I mean,
Or reopen.
we
for
can
everybody.
consider that, but it's also.
I mean, I'd like to speak to it if.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're gonna
absolutely.
wait till we open up that
Yeah,
ordinance.
okay.
Yep, and then I'll bring you up to speak.
No, you don't
Okay,
have to.
thank you, Mr. Tom.
Thank you.
Yes.
Michael Amedio, 409 Crescione. Isn't there something that you can probably do to help stop any delays by possibly having it go in front of the planning and zoning, and then they can always make the caveat of saying, we make this recommendation and leave it open-ended on one side that needs to be determined at a later date, to where you're not really wasting too much time, but leave it somewhat open-ended depending on what the motion is and how they actually vote on it. So it could be beneficial, like you said, but some parts might have to get revisited, but I think that for the sake of trying to avoid delays or unnecessary costs, that there is something that can be beneficial from going to planning and zoning, even though there might be something that need to be changed later.
And plan and zoning might change it also, so.
So what you're making the recommendation is let's hear this and look at this as a group, as a city, as many times as possible before.
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is that I understand what Mr. Buddy was saying, because his previous tenure on the Planning and Zoning Board, and I can understand about not wanting to have unnecessary meetings that could possibly have to go back, and then next thing you know, more changes and then more charges to the developers, right? And at the same time, it does have more public discussion for the citizens and more time to research, but also they don't necessarily have to make a recommendation on exactly what's in front of them. They can always change their
Yes, sir. Mind.
recommendation, or they can, yeah, whatever the motion is on the table, they can make it tailored to that certain caveat. So,
I mean, like, where I agree with you, it's so important for the city to be on, not the council, not the mayor, not even the planning and zoning, but the city to be on the same page with this. And we're gonna try to work this, because it's important. And I think the city has now gotten to the point, honestly, where this is time, the city's ready to move on. It's just a wound that just keeps getting pulled open and pulled open. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I think the city is ready to be done with this and move into the future of, you know, what Harahan could become.
yeah,
So thank you.
absolutely.
Justin Schmidt, 909 Poydras Street, representing Mr. David Trepanier. I want to echo what Councilmember Buddy said, and I understand there's an incentive to get this done. I know you're under a lot of pressure. I will tell you from a legal standpoint with this document, there's several problems with it. And I would just assume get it right on the front end so it's not assailable on the back end. One, you've got the impact, the citations for the impact fees are incorrect. Two, I don't think y'all realized or may not be aware, lots 1 through 8 have been sold from JW Colonial to Colonial Gardens, and in Colonial Gardens had sold 4 of those to private citizens. So you don't even have the people that need to be all the people that need to be a part of that agreement in the agreement right now. So it's going to take going back and looking at those and adding those in there, because they're going to be part of the development agreement as well, just like JW Colonial would be, because they've had these sales since they initially put in the application. Because of the subdivisions, the multiple subdivisions, there's also some holes in what's supposed to cover what. And then there's also some problems with that's not addressed is, so you passed 2020-26, which references conditions contained in 1777. Now, just because you repeal 1777 doesn't mean those conditions disappear, because then 1777 was just a reference point for the passage of that. So you've got to further address this document to address the fact that you've already passed 2020-26, and you're going to have to basically repeal that and then throw all that stuff back into this one as well. So again, just, free legal advice, take it for what it's worth, But anyway, for a land use attorney that's been doing this for 22 years, those are just a few of the issues that I see that seem to be.
So just for the record, Mr. Smith, the incentive to get this done is for the betterment of the Harahan. And I want to make sure that we clarify your word incentive. This is for the betterment of, we want to make sure this is right for the city. And that's the only incentive that we have, and I'm sure most everyone in the city. And number 2, we have obtained legal counsel to help work us through this ADA so we can get this right. And we've reached out to anyone in the community that actually wants to be a part and come and put their voice in. And when we do get this document drafted and ready for a vote, we will have every I dotted and every T crossed and every citizen's concern.
Well, this is the one that was, I was just looking at what's in the pack. My comments were based on what's in the packet.
Yes, sir.
If you've revised the packet
We're
since
working on it.
Yes, sir.
you placed it,
It's
but
a-
I think it's important that whatever goes forward is
Yes, sir.
actually before the.
100% agree.
And as I said, there's some fatal flaws in it right now.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else wanting to come speak? No one else? All right, public hearing is now closed. We'll go back to council discussion.
Sorry, if we're going to move this resolution forward, there's a couple of amendments that the city and the developers agree on in principle. So I'd like to get those in there so that it is the most updated copy that the planning and zoning is reviewing. And they're quite, I think, simple amendments. And so I'd like to go through those if it's okay.
Okay. We're going to take your amendments in global, if that's okay?
Um,
And then just vote on them all at once.
Okay, that should be fine. So it'll be line, oh goodness, the resolution isn't numbered. Okay,
So let's start paragraphs.
yeah. So let me find the paragraph. It'll be line 48, which is,
What page?
I'm looking for it.
Okay.
Stand by.
Whoops,
Oh, never mind. That's for
we
the.
don't have lines.
Yeah, sorry. That's for the
No
res-
numbers.
Yep. So line 145, which is actually section 3. Where is it at? Why is this not numbered?
I don't know. Because it's funny, it starts numbering here.
Your section numbers seem to have been,
Yeah, some reason the document I have in front of me is not numbered,
Some
messed
of 'em
up.
are.
Hmm.
That's odd.
Okay, it's gonna take a little bit longer.
We're gonna take a 5-minute recess.
Yes.
Mayor, can I make a motion for a 5-minute recess, please?
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Wheeler, 5 minutes.
Second.
Second by Councilman Asbill, all in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah,
5
Yay.
yeas, 0 nays. Meeting back to order at 17:46. I'm sorry, 7:46?
Just doing military?
1946. Yeah.
All right, so I move to amend paragraph 42.
We're going to amend,
Move to amend paragraph 42. At the end of the paragraph, we add the sentences.
Which is on page 5.
It will read, and I'll try to go as slow as possible. Additionally, comma, owner shall maintain a construction service road with ingress and egress on Jefferson Highway for the primary purpose of infrastructure installation. Owner shall require all infrastructure construction vehicles, deliveries, and operations to use this construction service road. Enforcement, however, shall be against individual violators and not owner. Period. So basically what that, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, I think.
yes.
The Second Amendment is section, paragraph 15, which is not numbered, but it's right before paragraph 16, which is numbered. And there's a
Which is
ref,
page 3.
which is, okay, page 3, sorry.
I'm sorry, which paragraph?
So it's
Page 3, paragraph 15.
which is right before paragraph 16.
On page
Okay,
3,
thank
it's
you.
got a dot.
It's got a dot, unfortunately. And there's just a wrong reference there. It should say section 3 rather than section 1, because it's this section. And before we vote on, I mean, I'd
Well-
like to confirm those amendments with Mr. Suffern, just to know that both of us agree on them, if we vote.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, Mr. Mayor, I'm Edward Suffren. I represent the developer owner under the amended development agreement, JW Colonial Group, and we are aware of these changes to the development agreement, which is between the city and the developer. We agree and consent to it for the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, come on.
We should open discussion on the
All right, we're going to
amendments.
go ahead, we'll open for public hearing. Come on.
Hey, guys. Yeah, Tommy Hughes again from 15 Colonial Lane. So it wasn't clear to me, what are we amending?
So we're amending the resolution that's going to go before the Planning and Zoning Board.
This or 2021-8?
It'll be,
21-3.
we're gonna do the same thing on the ordinance as well.
Both?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And could you read that amendment to me
Yes,
one
I'm
more
going to,
time?
yes.
Yeah.
So the amendment is page 3, the first one is page 3. It's section 15. I'll read the whole section, how it should read after amendment. Owner and the city acknowledge and agree that the residential development limitations in this section 3 shall not apply to any other development parcel and shall only apply to the 40-acre parcel. And on page 5, paragraph 42, it should read after amendment, during construction of any phase of development, on-street parking will be discouraged, and owner shall use its reasonable best efforts to cause its contractors and/or subcontractors to park on-site within the property. Additionally, owner shall maintain a construction service road with ingress and egress on Jefferson Highway for the primary purpose of infrastructure installation. Owner shall require all infrastructure construction vehicles, deliveries, and operations to use this construction service road. Enforcement, however, shall be against individual violators and not the owner.
Can we define infrastructure vehicles?
Sewer, drainage,
Yeah.
power, concrete,
What about lumber?
it's lumber, same thing.
Yep.
Lumber
Well,
would be infrastructure.
I don't think so. I think lumber is I think to me, infrastructure vehicles are going to be those rather bringing in pipes, bringing in bulldozers, all of that stuff, bringing in cement trucks to lay roads. What's that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Civil, so not the lots themselves.
No, it wouldn't be for the lots themselves.
Well, guys, that's the bulk. That's what I'm here for. But we're talking about probably a decade plus of, development. And I mean, I can go through this now if we want to. So, we're relatively new to here, to Harahan. We could have moved anywhere. We love it here, though. We're glad we made the decision to move here. You guys have been a big help, so I appreciate, the transparency through all this. I'm not here trying to stop development or progress, I promise. I think it's a net positive for the city. We actually want to see it happen. I just want some same protections for the existing residents. The thing about this new ordinance is that it actually contains language that nullifies a lot of the old agreements and protections because it rescinds the old agreements completely, and a lot of people maybe don't know that. And one of those has to do with an ingress-egress. But the language in the existing MOU has to do more with overall construction vehicles, okay, and commercial-type trucks, okay? And it has to do with for the entire life of the residential and commercial development. It's not perfect. It needs some improvement, but it's there, and I'd like to keep it. This is a good start, so thank you. Over the past year, we've had to deal with similar traffic in the neighborhood from the TV production at the clubhouse. We haven't complained because, we know it's good for the city. It's bringing in money, and it's been temporary. It's about a year. But this is scary because we're talking about maybe 100+ lots over the course of 10 to 15 years, maybe. It'd probably turn into something that's daily for us. I have 2 young boys who like to ride bikes, play basketball. It's scary. I'll tell you, it's added a level of stress for me because these guys are sitting up in big trucks, sometimes 18-wheelers coming down Riverside on a Colonial Club. I don't even know if they can see my kids, first of all, because they're so high up. And even if they did, I don't know if they could stop because of the load they're carrying, okay? So, not to mention the added noise, the potential damage to streets and trees. We've seen it enough over the past year to know that we don't want it with this development. We love it here. We don't want to leave. This is kind of our forever home, or it was going to be. So I really think that we need to be more specific in the provision to include things like commercial trucks. I'm not worried about electricians, plumbers, stuff like that. It's no big deal. But to have big 18-wheelers or big, large commercial trucks coming down, Colonial Club, it's not just bad for us and the residents on Colonial Club. I think it's bad for the city of Harahan. I really do. Because to me, Colonial Club is a staple of the city. People love to cruise down that street, ride their bikes, walk with their kids. They're going to avoid that street for the next 10 years. I'm telling you, if we don't do something a little better with the language. Anyway, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll address that very briefly. After discussing it with the developer, this is the language we could agree on by tonight. We could go back and discuss, weight restrictions on different vehicles. The concern from and I'll ask him to come up and express it just so I don't do it wrongly. But in gist, the concern is, when you start building you got all the streets laid, after infrastructure's laid, you start building lot 1. So let's say lot 1 is built. I'm sorry, house 1 is built on lot 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've got construction vehicles coming past them on a temporary road rather than a permanent road. So I understand his point, but this is the language we can agree on tonight. If the amendment's not accepted, that's fine. But this is what we could agree on tonight.
So explain that to me again. What's the
I'll
holdup?
I'll ask Mr. McCarron to come up to it.
Danny McCarron, 42 Colonial. So, and actually, let me just start in the rears. It probably makes sense. What it sounds like is you're going to add a bunch, change a bunch anyway. So why even mess with it tonight, right? I mean, if you're going to add 18 other lines, what's the point? But with that said, the concept is, so imagine coming from Glenwood, and imagine if the exact scenario I laid out to Jason talking is the first house is, actually you're at 15, yeah, you're on Colonial Lane, so I guess you kind of be lined up with the clubhouse sort of behind you, I guess? So originally at one time I had 13 one-acre lots proposed back there, right?
Okay.
If those go to develop first and the infrastructure is built out or separately, then it's not feasible to think that you're gonna force them down from Jefferson Highway.
You're talking about the levee lots.
I'm talking about the levee lots.
Well, so where's this provision? Is this for the 40-acre property or is this?
development.
For the whole development. So maybe we need to split it out. Maybe for the 40-acre and commercial development, there's a dedicated access road off Jeff.
I think you're gonna have a whole lot of, what it sounds like,
I mean, I think
is give and takes.
I think that's a discussion. It's not going to be an amendment that's going to be placed tonight, so I'll withdraw the amendment to paragraph 42, and that can be a discussion that planning and zoning carries on as well. Yeah. So the only amendment that should be considered by the council, I think, at this time is amending page 3, paragraph 15, to read section 3 rather than section 1.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to amend proposed ordinance 2021-3, second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays, so moved. Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to accept, can I get a motion to accept proposed ordinance 2021-3? Motion by Councilman Wheeler, second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yeah.
Nay.
4 yeas, 1 nay, so moved.
Who was nay?
I was nay.
Hey, Madam Clerk.
Okay, proposed resolution number 2020-4. The following resolution was offered unanimously by the council. Resolution accepting the municipal water pollution prevention environmental audit report for the period of January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020, and to inform the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality that the following actions were taken and additional actions will be taken by the city of Harahan.
Okay, so we now open for public hearing, proposed resolution 2020-4. Anyone would like to come speak, please come speak now. All right, so public hearing is now closed. All right, so we have this motion is unanimous, so we do have a motion on the floor to accept. Motion by Councilman Wheeler, huh? Sorry. We can accept this unanimously?
Yeah,
We
just want to make sure we make those edits to the part 8 and financial.
Okay. Council discussion? You want to bring?
So Todd Turnion sent the email.
We've got copies.
Okay.
And it may be that we just say we approve it, subject to the addition of, and we hand the document to Nicole, complete section 8.
Okay, proposed to be approved by additions made by,
I guess we have
Finance
to say we're gonna amend it.
okay.
So move to amend resolution
2020-4.
To include Todd Turnion's
It's the information to complete Section 8.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to amend proposed ordinance 2020-4 to add section 8, which is scheduled. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Resolution's amended. Now we have can I get a motion to accept the resolution?
Move to accept as amended.
Motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays, so moved. Madam Clerk?
Ordinances for approval. Proposed ordinance number 2020-25. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain and seconded by Councilman Asbill. An ordinance approving the preliminary re-subdivision plat of Lot A2B1, Soniat or Chapatoulas subdivision, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, into Lot A2B1A, Soniat or Chapatoulas Plantation subdivision, and lots 9 through 14, Colonial Place, Phase 1, all pursuant to a plan made by Ronald Clement, PLS, dated September 24th, 2020.
Okay, we'll now open public hearing. Anyone wants to come forth and speak on proposed ordinance? Should this be 2021-25? Okay, 2020-25? All right, public hearing is now open.
Good evening, Danny McCarron again, 42 Colonial, representing JW Colonial. The subdivision approval before you is to create 6 new lots along Colonial Club Drive, immediately adjacent to the previously approved platted 8 lots. This application was filed with the city on October 1st, 2020. The subdivision request fully complies with the development agreement with the city, currently with the city. The property being subdivided was initially part of the stormwater management area. It is not part of the 40-acre parcel designated in the development agreement for limited residential development. Therefore, it is not subject to the restrictions of no lots along Colonial. All of these lots exceed the minimum code requirements. The development team drafted the proposed ordinance in recognition of all the city-mandated conditions for the 8-lot approval. Therefore, the subdivision ordinance already provides that the 6 lots may not be re-subdivided into smaller lots. The same setbacks and sideline requirements are established, and the new lots specifically continue to remain subject to the development agreement and ordinance number 1777. JW Colonial Group has previously committed to you to comply with all city requirements. Drainage, sewer, and other technical issues have all been addressed by your outside professional team. We respectfully request your approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else coming to speak forward? Okay, no one else coming to speak. Public hearing is now closed. Council discussion?
I think as originally submitted, I would disagree with Mr. McCarron's classification that this falls outside of the 40 acres. As the development agreement stands in 1777, the 40 acres was to be determined. It never has been determined, and so I don't know where the 40 acres is. Now, I understand Mr. McCarron and Mr. Suffren offered a map this week delineating where they believe the 40 acres should be, and it's I don't know if anybody's going to offer that for an amendment. If not, I will offer that as an amendment and attachment. Anybody?
I believe you've got to amend the development agreement to agree to that. So,
Okay. Well,
and I believe this is a matter for planning and zoning.
so what I would like to do is make an amendment offering the map that the developer submitted. And then from there, I think that is a substantial change. And it'll be the council's discretion, I think, if it should go back to planning and zoning on that matter.
I don't think it's the council's discretion. I think it's a zoning matter. It's a re-subdivision matter. I don't know why we have a planning and zoning board if it doesn't go to planning and zoning. This is a re-subdivision matter,
It is a re-subdivision.
and it's an amendment to the planning and, to the development agreement.
That's right, and any action this council takes, just as in the ordinance that was challenged in 2020-26, any action this council takes in a new ordinance can further clarify a previous ordinance or replace it.
We're sending an amendment and restatement of the development agreement to zoning, planning and zoning, which covers matters such as this, and the original development agreement, yet somehow you think the council doesn't have to send this issue.
I didn't say
to-
that, Mr. Buddy. I didn't say
I
that.
misunderstood you.
I didn't say that. What I said was I offer the amendment, and then the council can decide whether or not they want to send it back to planning and zoning.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. So I offer that amendment to add that map as an amendment.
So we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to add the proposed map to ordinance 2021 dash,
We'll open public hearing for it.
I'll open for public hearing. All right, 2021 dash, what was it, 2021 dash 8?
No,
2020-25.
2020, I got it. All right, so we'll now open for public hearing about the proposed amendment.
Yep.
Danny McCarron, 42 Colonial. For the sake of clarity, just because I'm about as layperson as there is, this discussion, I think, would leave someone to believe that there's something being changed. I want to be clear. This has been submitted. These words have been added, 40 acres. That's it. The locations of the lots are still the same. There's been no change from when we applied for this originally October of 2020. We're simply adding the words 40 acres because it's, as I understand it, y'all have taken the position that we still don't know where the 40 acres are. Okay, so here's the 40 acres. We've added words. Aside from that, it's the same map. I want to make that clear for the public, because through the discussion, I would have been led to believe that we were making some substantial change. That's it.
Thank you.
Edward Suffren, again, for JW Colonial. I would also like to clarify and just reiterate that this is a preliminary subdivision approval. So when we go back for the final plat approval, planning and zoning is going to see it again, since they need to review the final plat. So we will be going back to them. You know, how many times do you have to go back when they've basically reviewed this? I did review the Meyer Engineering report. They recommended approval because we meet subdivision requirements. So I just wanted to clarify that point, that we will be going back to planning and zoning.
Justin Schmidt, again for Mr. Trepanier. First of all, Councilmember Asbill, the suit was dismissed on a vagueness and an exception. It wasn't because of what you said it was. I will tell you.
I didn't speak to the litigation other than.
No, you mentioned the litigation, so I'm addressing that. And I think it's public comment now. I can speak.
Yeah, but you're going to speak on what's
The
topic?
I don't know how much I can make this more clear to you. If you pass this tonight, it will be subject to the terms and conditions of 1777 and the old agreement and the MOU, which is not what the developer wants. It's going to be subject to it. So, you know, it's going to throw everything off. You're just making it too easy to I don't know, again, as I said the first time, you have to deal with 2026 and 2025 after you deal with this latest amended agreement. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So again,
So-
you've got your attorneys though. They know what they're doing.
So let me ask you a
They'll
question.
tell
Are you saying that you against him conforming to 1777? Because I mean, if he's within 1777,
What I'm saying is, his conformance with 1777, which is what this is going to have to do, is inconsistent with the development agreement, the amended development agreement that you guys just introduced on the resolution.
okay.
You've got two conflicting pieces of legislation, so, and that's not going back, that's not rescinding what's proposed in that you just
Got it.
proposed in that development agreement, that ordinance, doesn't do anything about this 2025 or 2026.
Gotcha.
So that's what I'm saying. We just might want to just pump the brake a little bit and let's take a look at this instead of going forward like you're trying to do.
Thank you. So, since it's my turn now, thank you, Mr. Schmidt. I'll further clarify, the litigation was dismissed for vagueness, suing the wrong party, and not suing enough parties. Further, I'm not saying I'm trying to pass this ordinance. They asked for an amendment. I'm offering the amendment that they've asked for. That's all we're doing right now. That's it.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbiel, second by Councilman Chatterling, to amend ordinance 2020-25 to add the map defining the 40 acres, which has not been previously defined as Councilman Asbiel stated. All in favor?
Wait, what's the wording?
So we're adding the map. We're
Well, I'm
adding,
sorry, where are we doing it?
This map right here.
I know with the map.
Yeah.
I know that.
We're just
Yeah.
adding it.
So we're adding, to be clear, sorry.
You're just adding it as an attachment.
We're adding it as attachment, and we're adding at the end of section 7. I apologize, I have those words here in front of me, I just didn't get to them. At the end of section 7, we add the words, "The 40-acre parcel designated as quote-unquote 40 acres as set forth on the attached plan showing 40 acres prepared by Ronald Clement, PLS, dated August 5th, 2019, is recognized and confirmed as the 40 acres referenced at section 3B of the development agreement and designated for limited residential development."
okay. You good, Mr. Thompson?
Yeah, thank you.
So, Mr. McCarron, someone's asking to see the map. Can we hold that map up one more time, please?
Yeah, you can pass it around and get it over.
Okay.
I don't know why I can't go up on the fancy screen.
Same map as before, 8 months ago. I did add 40 acres to help with the map. At this line, 467.91 foot from the end of the lake. Yeah, same thing. So this is the old one, now it has 40 acres.
So we vote on the amendment?
Yeah, I'll vote on the amendment.
Okay. All right, so we only gonna vote on the amendment to add the map to 2020-25, notated where Councilman Asbiel put on record. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
Nay.
Okay, so we got 4 yeas.
Now, to go along with that, I
One
mean,
nay.
to
So
me, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, so moved. Councilman Johnson.
Okay. To me, it's just a clarification. This is what I've always been told, even before I was councilman, this is what I was always told. The 40 acres is right there in the middle. I think it's a clarification. But I'd like to ask the city attorney if he, in his opinion, if we should send this back to the planning and zoning board before we actually vote.
For purposes of the map, the lots that went to planning and zoning have not changed, as Mr. McCarron had said. He's just designated 40 acres on the original map, so I don't think it's substantially different legally. But if the council believes it has to go back, that's up to the council.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do you want to, you ready?
I think there's further discussion on it, because I don't, and I'm just gonna say this, because I don't know where the council's going with it, to be honest. I'm not opposed to approving this preliminary plan with these lots. However, I will say, and I will point out, that this is a negotiated part of the amended development agreement. And tied to that was an advance payment for infrastructure improvements to take on additional lots. So if the council goes in that direction, I would ask that we propose some type of amendment that accepts that advance payment. Or it may be lost in the amended development agreement.
Anyone else?
I'm going to say what I've said for months now, probably for a year, that this whole transaction regarding Colonial has been, in my opinion, poorly documented and mismanaged. And every time something is done without amending the development agreement, it becomes more complicated. So now we're amending the payments envisioned in the amended development agreement to be included in this amendment concerning 6 lots. It boggles my mind why this council and the developer just doesn't agree that the cleanest and simplest thing to do is to amend the development agreement. We're moving forward. The city has consented and allowed the developer to move forward piecemeal, and it creates more and more issues. This whole thing just gets more complicated, and I'm not going to use the first word that comes to mind, which is it's not a clean document. So, however, the council and previous administration has moved forward with transactions that seem to violate 1777 development agreement, and may be doing it again tonight.
Well, I don't think they are, that we are breaking the violations because of the original agreement. But the 40 acres have always been drawn out. Has it been put in place on surveys and stuff? I don't know. We have a survey right here marking the 40 acres. I'm prepared to move on this.
So, Councilman Asbill, you were saying about the other amendment about monies to add to this ordinance?
I have something prepared if the council would like to hear it.
It'd be an amendment?
It'd be an amendment, yes. It'd be an amendment. I'm just going to say it before I move it. It would be an amendment after Section 8 to add Section 9 as follows. Section 9, in the event that lots 9 through 14 are granted final plat approval, again, this is preliminary that we're working on tonight. Final plat approval, JW Colonial Group LLC shall pay $100,000 to the city of Harahan, the advanced impact payment, within 30 days of such final approval. The advanced impact payment shall be credited to property owners' impact fees up to and including an identical aggregate amount at the time individual lot owners within the formal Colonial Golf Course property apply for a building permit. And just to explain the advanced impact payment for this purpose and the purpose of the ADA, it is never anything that the city has to pay back to the developer. We have impact fees in this city. When you get a building permit, you have to pay an impact fee on the type of house you're building, based on square footage, number of toilets, number of sinks, all of that good stuff. And it's different for every house. And so what they are doing is they are advancing the first $100,000 of those new lot owners' building permit impact fees. And that is upfront money for us to go ahead and start making improvements in the system to accept these new lots into the system.
And so also to clarify improvements into the system, as we make those improvements into the system, everyone along the way of those improvements into the system will also benefit from from that improvement. And that's what we've been working on. That's what you'll see us breaking ground on all through Wilson Street right now. Because as that new line comes through Wilson Street, you know, it needs to be moved out of people's backyards into the street where it belongs, and that money will be put towards those improvements as well. So not only will Colonial benefit from it, but all of the homeowners on Wilson Street will start to benefit from it as well.
So I just have one more question. I have one more question. With this whole, with that wordage that you just talked about, being that the other amended agreement didn't go through yet, like, how does that work?
So if we offer this amendment, the amendment's approved, and if we approve this, then that'll be another amendment in the ADA.
Right.
To give them a credit for it.
Right, but if that's not voted on, or what I'm saying.
No matter what, if the ADA never comes back, we're still getting the $100,000. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still gonna have to pay the $100,000 within 30 days of final approval.
Just one second. I'll be with you. So, anyone else? Okay, can I get a motion to, oh,
I move to amend, as stated.
all right, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, amended as stated to 2020-5 to add the verbiage that he stated with the additional 100,000 contingent on final plat approval.
That's right.
Do you have a second? Second by Councilman Chatterling. All in favor?
Yeah.
We have to open it up.
Yeah, we should.
I'm sorry. We're gonna, I'm sorry. Go ahead. All right, hold on. Pull that back. Pull that vote back. Go ahead. Your turn.
So,
Thanks, guys.
just to clarify, because I don't want this to carry on too long.
Sure.
If you're coming up to speak, it should be
This is
about the
just on this
amendment,
section
right?
here. Yeah.
It should
Well, I
be-
wanted to address what the councilman said.
Okay.
Can I
Okay.
do that?
Sure.
We'll do the amendment, then if you want to talk about the whole ordinance, we'll open it back up after we do the amendment.
Okay.
Only
It
if
wouldn't
you're
have
talking
passed?
about the amendment itself right now, then you can
Okay.
talk, but.
Well, can I comment on something that you said during this? Yeah.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
So it was in regards to why we don't just amend the existing agreements that have been done, right? So, you know, earlier I talked about in the existing MOU there being some protections and discussion around access off of Jeff Highway for commercial and construction, of the property. But there's also some protections and verbiage around things like, sewage and drainage and stormwater, runoff and things like that have, it's, again, I'm new here, but it seems like this has been going on for quite some time. And I'm not trying to obstruct. It's just, there's been 8+ years of good faith agreement, or good faith negotiations between the citizens and the developers and the council. And it feels like with this new agreement, we're just wiping all of that away and starting fresh. And there's just, I really wish you guys would go back and look at the existing agreements and maybe just keep the good parts at the very least, or ideally, as the councilman said, just amend what's already there.
Right. Well, even if we keep the good parts just for, good housekeeping, the amendment will be wiped out and be restated anyway. So you'll have to come back with a new amendment once we change it.
But
It has
only
to
if
be
you
new.
say that in the agreement, right? Only if you say we're rescinding the prior agreements,
Right.
right?
So every time.
You don't have to say
Every
that.
time a new one is added, the old one becomes null and void.
Is
So
that
no
right?
matter what, even if I did the exact same amendment and we changed one word, the old one becomes null and
No,
void.
man, I'm pretty sure with contracts you can just do an amendment. Is that right?
Well, that's kind of what we're doing, so, and.
But it's not. But it's not. You specifically say on page 4 you're rescinding the prior development agreement and MOU. That's what you say, and that's fine. I just,
Right.
if you guys would just look at those
Yes, sir.
and just keep some of the good pieces.
Yeah, we're on the same page. We are definitely on the same page.
Oh, okay.
We got it.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Justin Schmidt, I just have a point of clarity or a question of clarity. Is this 150 impact fees, is that going to be against the 750 that's proposed in the amended and restated development agreement?
Right,
So-
it's
so that-
$100,000 It's
Or it's 100,000.
It's
So
100,000.
that'll be part of the 750 that's
That's
already
correct.
in there.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay, so now we'll close public hearing, all right, and now we'll go back to the amendment of 2020-25. All right, we're gonna vote all in favor?
Yay.
Nay.
All right, we're voting on
Amendment.
adding the amendment to 2020-25, justifying the 100,000 in advance of the contingent.
Can you recall
Got
that
it.
vote? Yeah.
Okay. Yep, so all in favor?
Yay.
Nay.
All right, 4 yeas, 1 nay, so moved. That was just the amendment, okay? And now we'll come back to proposed ordinance 2020-25. And we're gonna call for the vote? Okay, so we want to call for the vote on 2020-25 as amended.
So do we want to open it back
You
up,
need a-
public
All right,
hearing
we'll bring it-
before we vote
Yep,
on?
just in case, we'll get you'll open for public hearing one more time to try to get everybody as much chance as they'd like to talk as possible. So if anybody else has any concerns or wants to speak, come on up. Yeah, yes, you may.
On this amendment,
Yes, ma'am.
or the ordinance as a whole,
The ordinance as a whole, yes,
On
come on up.
ordinance, on whole ordinance, yes,
as amended.
as amended. Ordinance as amended with that one section, yeah.
Terry Valenti, 191 Colonial Club Drive. It just occurred to me, because I kind of stepped away from this for a while. I appreciate the new neighbor that's coming and speaking up, too. Ms. Bodia, you said everything's being done for the city, not for the council, not for you, not for the developer. That means the citizens, right?
Yes, I said we're trying to work together as a city.
Okay. As a citizen, I feel like from where we were several years ago to now, so many things have happened that are not good for the citizens. They're not happy about them. It seems like, and I never thought I would agree with Mr. Buddy, but I have to say, every time y'all come back in and you make changes, to me, it seems like the changes are not in our favor. I am really glad to see that there's going to be a change about the road. That is a positive. But that is also something I thought is a place where we were years ago. And then somehow there was going to be a road, or they were going to allow going in and out of Colonial. Right now, Lot 1 is across from me. It's terrible. It's terrible to have to look out and see whatever that is going on over there. And I have a feeling that I'm going to be looking at that for 10 years. The problem with the sewer was over there. I'm not even going to speak about that because something may have happened that I didn't see what's going on. But it appeared to me that they just walked away from a problem and dug another septic tank or something. But I just don't see the protections for the citizens. And Eric Chatelain said years ago he would not vote on anything until the whole thing was done. And Eric Chatelain has not stuck by that. It's being done piecemeal now. And as a citizen, I can tell you, no matter what you say you're agreeing on, we now feel like whenever somebody wants a change, they come in and ask you and you change it. So there is no feeling that we're being protected whatsoever. And it's just my general opinion about everything. If you're doing it for the citizens, doing it piecemeal like this and making all these changes, I mean, there was supposed to be no houses down Colonial other than the 7 lots.
In the original agreement, it says there's no houses down Colonial at that front of 40 acres. And where they're asking to build, but sans all of that, I agree with you. You know, we've been down this road a lot together, you know, through so many years. And And even though it seems to be a moving target, which it kind of
It is a moving target,
is.
trust me. Everybody, I think, on both sides can agree. It's
Yes, ma'am.
been a moving
So
target.
we're just, you know, and again, you know, I'm very thankful for you to come up and give your opinion because we're trying to make this, we're trying to get this to, I'm pretty sure you want to be done with this. I know you ready to
Oh,
be done with
it's
all.
not, you know, the citizens know that we're not going to be done with it.
Right, well, we're trying, I mean, we're trying to get there. We're trying to get
Because
a
anytime they
solution.
want to make a change, they're going to come back and you're going to change it. They're going to wave a little money at you and you're going to change it.
Well, I don't know what you mean by referencing waving a little money at me, but.
The $100,000.
So.
I mean, I can tell you, it's not just me. I know lots of my neighbors do not understand that we're getting the developmental agreement changed and y'all are getting money.
Under the current developmental agreement, the city gets no money until houses are actually being built. Under the new agreement, what we're asking them for is an advance to try to prepare the infrastructure for when this development does come online completely in totality. And then, but as we preparing for these guys, what we're doing is putting in new lines for ourselves. There is a system, the prior mayor actually allowed to come in and tie into the manhole in Riverside. Well, that manhole actually ties to the worst piece of sewer in the entire city of Harahan. That money that advance money will go to repairing that, to building an
Mr.
entire new
Verdier,
sewer
I
line.
understand the city
right?
needs money. I get
Right.
that. I get it.
Under the current agreement, we're getting nothing. We get nothing until houses are
But you're
actually
making
built.
changes. I mean, like, there was never a cul-de-sac halfway down on Colonial Club. That was never discussed before. I mean, it's probably been discussed for a while now. But, I mean, you go back and look at what it was when all of this first happened. How many times the citizens have been told, well, this is what it's going to look like, and then it gets changed. And the one thing that I do remember, and it's probably the only thing I've ever agreed with Eric, he said, I won't vote on it until the whole thing, all of the studies, everything that they wanted to do was in that agreement. Well, that didn't happen, and that wasn't really his fault. But since that time, Eric, you have voted many times on making this change and that change, and it's just what the gentleman that lives on Colonial Club Lane said is true. Each time it's changed, you take something away from the citizens. Each time it's changed, it is not good for us. And therefore, no confidence. Thank you.
Thank
Danny McCarron, 42 Colonial. I didn't really plan to continue to speak on this, but again, you have another impassioned speech that seems like there's been changes. I can only speak for my 20 months, which is feel like it's been 5 years. I don't know what changes. I hear you when you say that, it seems, but what document has changed? This hasn't changed.
Danny, attached to the ordinance
Yeah.
is a different map. Doesn't show the 40 acres. We've seen in this city.
Specific question is, what
multiple
has been
plot
worse?
plans.
So I've added the words 40 acres, Mr. Tommy. At your request, everybody, guys, it's math. I wouldn't think, I would have thought the pros would tell you that's 40 acres. You wanted me to tell you it's 40, there's the 40 acres. But what I'm asking is, when this speech goes on as if y'all make changes and it's been to the detriment, what are they? And I'm sitting here, I want to live. What changes have taken place, at least in the last 20 months, that have been a detriment?
It's been longer than 20 months.
No. That change has not happened. That change has not happened. Let me go one step further.
But you're gonna do it.
The statement was that there has been changes made that's to the detriment of the citizens. For one, I want to point out, I'll say it again. Everybody in this room seems to be from Colonial Club. I want to state it again. There's nothing like staring at a golf course. It's not going to be better. I just want to state that. You're not going to be able to see a golf course. Whenever this gets developed, whether it's me or somebody else, it's not going to be a golf course. So I really do have empathy with that. But there's been no changes. There's been no changes. That said, with regards to the development agreement, this is in full compliance with your current development agreement. I'm not making any request here based on a new development agreement. And to be quite frank, your council is y'all are getting the much better deal of this development agreement. Guys, okay, nevertheless, so you don't. This is part of the current development agreement. You can look at it, you can read it, I'm happy to debate that. I can't let this notion continue to say these awful changes have happened and they continue to be at the detriment. I can only speak for the last 20 months, but I can tell you that's not been the case. Regarding the corner on Lot 1, I think I'm doing the right thing there. I literally realize how many cars are parked in front of that first house that's being built. So in an effort to not continue that, we've agreed to give up Lot 1 for a temporary basis as a shell parking lot so contractors can park in there. That's it. That's it. We're giving up the ability to sell that right now. That's it. I want to state. And look, if there are changes that have been made that's been detriment in the past 20 months, I'm interested. But I'm not aware of any.
Officer, can you close that door? I'm hearing somebody speak, and I don't know if it's inside or outside, and it's distracting. Thank you.
Mr. McKiernan, is it? McCarran, okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, again, I'll reiterate, I want the development to happen. I think it's a good thing for the city, I really do. For me, and it's not about the map or anything like that, it's about the verbiage in the new agreement that says we're rescinding everything that came before it, okay, and we're starting fresh. And again, there's certain protections if you go back and look at the original agreements that aren't in the new one. And that's all this is about for me, is just going back and carrying forward some of the verbiage around sewage protections for the existing residents, you know, a dedicated entry point from Jeff Highway for commercial traffic and construction traffic. And there's other items, and I can, if you guys want, I can put together an email and send it to you.
Absolutely.
And we can discuss it more.
That's
Yeah.
in case anybody wonders, that's what they want.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
we've been doing that. We've been doing that.
Absolutely.
But I just wanted you to know I'm not like out here trying to like destroy the development or stop it or anything. I'm not, man. I'm all about it. It's going to help increase my home value. I really believe it. But I don't want to lose my quality of life to a level where I want to move. If you guys can understand
Yes.
that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Foster Wade, 548 Ashland Drive. I'd like to just state that not every citizen feels like we are being hurt and that this is a bad thing for the city. As a person that has been doing land use plans for a long period of time, this proposal is one of the best land use plans I've seen across the country. I spent part of my career working at the Department of Interior, overseeing land use plans across the United States on all federal lands. And so what I've seen here through this proposal, what I've seen is outstanding, and it's something that you do not see in other parts. We definitely haven't seen it before here in Harahan. I've been a citizen of Harahan since 1961. And I've watched everything get developed here from behind the Larcella's compound on Jefferson Highway to across from it to where the plantation, not the plantation, it was a farm that encompassed all that area, back down by Harahan Oaks, going further back down Roseland Parkway and Gordon. All those areas have gotten developed, but nothing comes close to what this is doing by putting some commercial that helps this city from a jobs, from a tax incentive, and goods and services. Then there is a large portion of this property that is going to be a green space Where else in Harahan or anywhere around here do you see a green space in a new community? It doesn't happen. And then you look at, you know, the spacing of these lots and, you know, some of the protections that have been in place. This is something positive for this city. And I urge that you move forward on this. Pushing off and pushing off and pushing off, you know, we need to get it done. I mean, it needs to be done right, but it just seems like it keeps pushing, 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 pushing. And I sent you an email asking for some information after you sent an email to me, and I haven't gotten a response.
I'm sorry, what was your email for?
It was asking about some of the processes for surge and treatment, as well as the road. I had some questions, and I haven't gotten a response.
I have significant questions about sewerage, and.
I had some questions. I drove in from Houston last week to be a part of this public hearing for the.
To be specific, the agreements do not address drainage and sewerage in the detail that a world-class proposal would.
Well, that's why I tried to come here last week to talk and answer, and
I'm just
it
saying,
never
sir,
happened.
I don't have that information
Okay.
because it hasn't been developed,
Okay,
not in the documents.
okay.
It was process. I was asked, my questions had to do with process. And I didn't get an answer. The process that I was asking about is everything going to be designed by a licensed engineer? Is it going to be reviewed by the engineers, Harahan engineers, and approved? And then on a sewerage, will it go to Jefferson Parish for their engineers to review and approve? I was asking a simple question on process, because that is the checks and balances that you look for in approving a system to ensure that it is going to meet the needs of this city. And that's what one of my concerns was, that I wanted to know.
I'll answer your question for you. So Councilman Buddy and I are actually working on this together. And yes, this will go before our engineers. It will not go before a parish engineer because the sewer maintains, the city maintains its own sewer system.
The drainage.
The drainage will go before the parish.
Yeah,
And
that's what
Councilman Bonanno was here. He is actually helping us work on it as well.
And that's what that was a question. I was just asking for a process
Yes, sir.
here.
It's a little bit of a process. We got this. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sue Benton, 77 Colonial Club Drive. So two things. One, the green space that the doctor referred to, that represents one of the changes to the detriment of the citizens that Ms. Valenti referred to, because in the previous agreement, the public had the use of that green space, and that was rescinded in the current or the new agreement. So that's just one example of how it hasn't been approved yet, but it's a detriment, it's a change in, against the citizens. The other thing is, I would refer to it as a half a plan, because as Ms. Valenti also said, there was much talk in the beginning that it would not be developed until there was a plan for the whole thing, what it would all look like. And Mr. Ducote said at the last meeting, I believe it was, that he couldn't provide that. Well, Mr. Georges provided it, or what, they both did when they were in partnership together. But now Mr. McCarron has come along, and I don't know what changed. I don't know why Mr. Georges and Mr. Ducote could provide a complete plan, and not only one complete plan, 10, 20, I don't know. But for some reason, they can't provide that, and I find that just ridiculous. But and the other thing, the last thing is, and I'm not a developer, obviously, so I don't know exactly how it works, but it seems to me that the developer is responsible economically for the infrastructure. So I don't understand this advance of $100,000 to get the work done prior to, so that they can develop the lots. I mean, I thought that was supposed to be on them. And then you say that there's nothing in it in the first agreement, and so that this is, something that improves the agreement. Yet I think maybe it wasn't in the first agreement because it's a known fact that the developer is supposed to pay for the infrastructure.
So I'd like to, if you don't mind, I'd like to address that. Prior to November or December of 2020, our ordinances said that we could charge impact fees. Nowhere in the ordinances did it define what impact fees were, how much they were, any of that. Our ordinances just did not do that. So without really an ordinance saying what the impact fees are, we couldn't charge anything. So that's why in November and December, or December of 2020, this council voted to institute new impact fees. Those impact fees are based on the building permits of a newly created lot. So theoretically, in the old agreement, we wouldn't, because the old agreement is still standing, and we have impact fees now, we wouldn't get those impact fees until we created new lots, and those new lots came in to apply for a building permit. However, as part of the negotiation for some of the changes, yes, there are changes that are proposed in ADA. For those changes, there is consideration from the developers to pay those impact fees up front rather than waiting for the building permits to come in.
I understand how y'all are explaining it. And that's why I said I don't, and I'm not a developer, so I don't.
So not only are they required to build their own infrastructure, and that's on their nickel and has nothing to do with us, anything, the money that we're getting from them, we're gonna provide to upgrade our infrastructure.
Right, it's to upgrade our infrastructure that their system is eventually gonna flow through, but also it benefits all of the citizens.
Shouldn't they be responsible for that also?
They should, but they're not.
Why aren't they?
They just weren't. They never were. It wasn't in the agreement, and there was nothing in our ordinances that
Well,
required
if the city can't provide what they need, then they need to bring it up to speed.
So
I mean, why would the city want to pay for the developer to be able to develop? That doesn't make sense to me.
So they have offered up the opportunity to put their own sewer plant on their own property. And that is in negotiation, and that is something that I do not want, and they, within their rights to be able to do that. And I'm pretty sure that is not gonna be for the betterment of Harahan.
No, I agree, but I'll just go with, I don't understand.
We're gonna get it. I appreciate you talking with us the other day and working with us. We're gonna get this, I promise you.
Okay.
We're gonna work together on it. We're gonna get it.
All right, I'm not opposed to the development, I just want I want us to be protected.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Move to close public hearing.
So I think we kind of shifted, I think we kind of shifted going back to the whole amendment of the ADA. I think we got away from this ordinance right here.
We did.
This ordinance right here, to me, is just a clarification on the amendments. It's a clarification showing the 40 acres. Also to add the verbiage for the 100,000. And just as the city attorney said, the original ordinance was just for the 6 lots. So that's all we really are focused on right now. We're not focused on the development of the rest of the property. That's not what we're voting on tonight.
And again, I apologize to the council for letting that, banter on, but I think it's just important that everyone has a voice and everyone gets a chance to say something, so
Right, absolutely,
I'm sorry.
absolutely.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I just wanted to clarify that this isn't to redo everything. This is just what we were originally to vote on was the additional 6 lots. We just added the extra verbiage to clarify the 40 acres and then the verbiage to add the 100,000 into it.
I believe when this was the plan, that zoning came back recommended.
No, it says right here.
So as of now, we've only amended 2020-25 twice. We have not yet voted on the following ordinance. All right, so you guys want to vote on the ordinance? As amended. Okay, so I have a proposed ordinance by Councilman Chatelain and seconded by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Now we're voting on I didn't hear.
It's a nay.
Okay. So 4 yeas, 1 nay, so moved. As amended. Okay.
Proposed ordinance number 2021-8, The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman Chatelain. An ordinance authorizing the approval, adoption, and execution of that certain amended and restated development agreement for the residential and commercial redevelopment of the former Colonial Golf and Country Club by and between J&W Colonial Group LLC and the City of Harahan.
Okay, so we'll now open for public hearing. Okay, no one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion?
So since we applied the amendments to the ordinances, I have the same amendment for this ordinance, for the resolution, I'm sorry. I have the same amendment for this ordinance.
And the section 3?
So it's line 145. It's actually numbered on this one. Changing the Roman numeral 1 to Roman numeral 3. And there's one addition on this one, one additional amendment on this one. It's just clerical. Line 48, which is the first page of the ordinance, it reads that the municipal clerk for the city of Harahan shall cause to be recorded in the mortgage office of the parish of Jefferson. It says mortgage office because that's what the state statute says, but just for clarity, we want to change that to mortgage and conveyance office. So that it's, because it actually probably should be in the conveyance book and not the mortgage book.
I'm concerned, I hope it doesn't create clouds on any titles with that.
The statute.
No, I
says
understand.
Mortgage office, so out of an abundance of caution, we're gonna do it mortgage conveyance.
No, when I saw it, I had mentioned it, I was just concerned that if,
You're correct, the lender's gonna say.
it's gonna,
why
why
is
is
it
this?
I think we can address it at that time,
Okay.
otherwise it would violate the statute.
No, I understand.
Also, Councilman Asbill, you have to add the resolution number and the date of the meeting.
I say we just leave that blank for now until we figure out when the meeting is going to be held.
Okay.
And
What's May 5th, right?
it was supposed to be April 7th, so we don't know.
It should be in May,
Oh, held
correct?
on. Got it.
The plan is on being?
It should be in May if they hold.
If they hold it in May.
Right.
Yeah. They weren't, I mean, it should have been.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Wait for them to do it, then come back and fill. Okay, okay.
The only additional amendment is line 49.
Yeah, so I move to amend line 49 to read mortgage and conveyance office. I move to amend line 145 to delete Roman numeral 1 and add Roman numeral 3. After section.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to amend 2021-8. Can I have a second? Second by
Second.
Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
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 5 yeas, 0 nays. So moved.
Amendments only.
That's amendment only. Okay.
Do we have to motion for it to go to plan and zoning, or it's automatic?
It's automatic on the, yeah, so I move to defer.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to defer. May I have a second? Second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. So moved. So with that, that's the topic of it. So just, can we clarify that point real fast? And so that's the ADA that we're talking about, which will go back to planning and zoning. And this is actually not a target we need to hit with a rapid rate of speed, but this is one that we're really asking the public, and I would love for you to come into some meetings with us, and let's really get involved with Mr. McCarron. I mean, they're very, very open-minded, man, so I'd love it. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 2021-9. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Wheeler and seconded by Councilman
I'll take it.
Johnston. An ordinance approving franchise agreement renewal with Energy Louisiana LLC.
Did Mr. Patrick leave? Oh, I didn't see you. Sorry. Come on up, Mr. Patrick.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Patrick Hamby on behalf of Entergy Louisiana. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. Can you hear me now? This is basically, I'll give you a quick summary of what this is, and for the public as well. We've had a franchise agreement with the city of Harahan for 25 years. It has recently expired, and what a franchise agreement does, it is a fee that we collect through our utility bills and then pass along back to the city to be used as they determine it to be used. And what that fee is used for is for us to use the right-of-ways within the city limits to provide safe electrical, reliable electrical service. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions that you may have.
Patrick, what's the fee collected and paid under the existing, or with the now expired 25-year agreement?
The now recently expired 25-year agreement is a 2.5% fee.
And the fee in the document that you provided to us?
The proposed fee is 2%, and that is the baseline fee that is being offered currently now for the same time period, 25 years. But again, I'm open to discussion and other questions and inquiries.
What other benefits or what other conditions are covered, such as providing lights, city street lights?
No,
Is
that's
that-
a separate fee. This is just for the use of the right-of-ways, for our poles, our facilities, everything else to go in city right-of-ways.
And I don't know the answers to these. These are pure questions. I understand that Entergy provides some street lighting, poles and lights, and maintenance in the city of Harahan. Is that covered by a separate agreement?
That is on your monthly utility bill, correct. It's a rate category that's approved by the Louisiana Public Service Commission for streetlights, depending on what wattage they are, what type of light they are, and it's based on the number of lights that the city has, and it's
So
paid
it's
each
a
month.
separate agreement?
That's actually a bill. Yep. We bill you for that. So that in that instance, you're paying us for the lights. In this instance, we're collecting a 2% or 2.5% fee, added to the constituents who live within the city limits bills, and we're collecting that on your behalf and paying it to the city on a quarterly basis. For a point of reference, in 2020, we collected approximately $192,000 and sent it back to the city.
What is the franchise fee for other municipalities in the area? Do you know that offhand?
Generally speaking, the large majority is 2%. We do have a few here and there, some outliers such as yourselves, that is 2.5%.
Is it possible to keep it at 2.5%?
I was about to ask
It
that.
is
Why the
possible
decrease?
to keep it. Well,
Right.
since it's been 25 years and we've had decades of,
Right.
rates go by, we've had some of the lowest rates in the whole country that our customers have enjoyed.
Right.
So we're trying to keep the rates
I
low
was
for our
gonna try to go.
customers.
I was gonna try to go for 3%. I was going for 3%. Me.
Well, you got to realize that it basically is a pseudo or quasi, whatever word you want to use, tax. So if you raise it, you're basically imposing that to your constituents. So they're
Oh, and we can leave. Here we go.
okay. And it's outlined as a line item. It says municipal franchise fee on the bill, and that's what that is.
Yeah, no, I was just curious
Yeah.
about why. I understand that it's up and y'all go down to 2 most of the time, but if y'all are still doing 2.5, I don't understand why. I mean, I understand, but I don't understand. you
No,
know?
I got you. So that's more of a boilerplate agreement, and I
Right.
was talking
Yeah.
to some of the council folks, and it is open for negotiation, obviously.
Yes, I'd like it to remain at 2.5. If we amend it, is that something that Energy would accept?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So you're talking about a 20% difference. So that 192,000 from last year, if it was 2%, and that's about $38,000.
Right.
That would not be collected. So,
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So as far as the procedural process goes, is that I come back to you with a amended
No,
document, or can we do that
we can
tonight?
amend it now.
Okay.
Draw up an amended document.
I have a question. Has anybody from the city reviewed the document?
All right. Perfect. So we're gonna try to go back amend to 2.5.
Should we defer this until we get the new document?
Or until someone from the city reviews it?
Okay.
I think I feel more comfortable with him redoing the document than we us voting on it after the fact.
Okay.
All right.
So, no,
Just defer.
no.
And then we could do an amendment once he comes back with the 2.5. Yeah.
Perfect.
But if it's procedurally possible
We
for
could do
you
it either-
guys to do it this way?
Yeah,
It would
but-
be easier, or would I have to reintroduce it and then wait another month for the
So you
vote
can
with
come
the
back, it's,
totally new
it's pretty
document?
much gonna read the same thing, it's just, we'll just go into here and label it 2.5. I mean, we could do it tonight if y'all want, or we could wait for his paperwork to come back. I prefer to wait for the paperwork to come back, but
So I think Mr. Buddy's point also, and I could be wrong, is that we passed a franchise fee ordinance at
Correct.
some point in 2019, and I think he wants to make sure that this document conforms. And I'll say that I have not reviewed this document to make sure it conforms to that franchise fee agreement ordinance. So it would be prudent to defer.
Right.
That way we have a little bit more time to review that. And yeah, it could be passed next month,
Okay.
if everybody's satisfied that.
Yes.
We can amend it at the next month.
That'll work.
correct.
So do you need me to provide an updated document with the 2.5%?
That'd be good.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think, no, you don't need to.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just real quick, Patrick
need
Hamby is the city's contact for Entergy. And let me tell you, I know it may seem not, but he has been incredible to work with. Incredible. I mean, he answers every call, every text, anytime, day and night. And the city is, we're very thankful to have you working with us and on our team.
Yep,
Thank
absolutely.
you so much.
Proud to be part of the team.
Thank you.
Thank
Let
you.
me ask you just one thing.
Yes.
If you were to redo a document, you would just amend the percent and resubmit to us, correct? All the wording would be the same?
Yeah, I'll redline it so you'll see the
Yeah,
one change.
so-
It'll be, instead of 2, you'll see the red
Okay.
line track.
Well, that's fine.
2.5.
Yeah, since you have the Word version, go ahead and, I guess, amend it
Yeah,
and forward it to us. That way we have it
right.
on paper.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Okay.
Perfect. So
Thank
we'll
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
move to
All right.
defer.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Second.
motion by Councilman. All right, so we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to defer, second by Councilman Johnston. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays, so moved. All right, Madam Clerk, ordinances for introduction.
All right. Proposed ordinance number 2021-10. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill. An ordinance amending the City of Harahan Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, Section 19, Planning and Zoning Commission, relative to membership of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And old business, appointment of city magistrate.
Yes, I just want to speak on this. I appreciate you sending the information that I requested.
Thank you.
I understand that it's your appointment and you can appoint who you want. I just wanted to see
Yes,
the
sir.
document
Thank
for
you.
myself. Yep.
Okay, so all right, so we're gonna, I'm gonna motion, Chip Forstall, what's Chip's real name? Yeah, Warren Chip Forstall to become the new city magistrate. Second?
Yep.
Oh, I can't motion it.
I move to
Yeah.
appoint.
Well, Councilman
Move to
Chatelain
approve the nomination.
motions, Councilman Wheeler seconds.
Okay.
All in favor? I'm sorry.
The discussion that I'd like to have is that the council requested public agencies to provide guidance on whether there was a potential conflict. And the guidance, as I understand it, didn't indicate that there was a potential conflict. But as I look at it, and as much as I appreciate the job that that Tiffany did, I think it gets into that perception issue. I don't think there's any ethics problem based upon what I've read. I'm not an attorney. I don't think there's any rules violation, but I think the parties may be too close for it not to be a perception issue. And so that's what I wanted to get on the record.
Well, thank you, Mr. Tom, I appreciate that. And just to reiterate, Magistrate Wilkin was amazing. She actually took control of the courtroom. It was incredible, and I'm truly hope to have her back one day.
Well,
if she will have us.
I made one of the hearings just to learn what went on in our court. And I thought she was extremely professional. She was empathetic. She listened. She was fair. She controlled the courtroom through her calm demeanor. And I thought she did an excellent job. So she'll be missed in that regard. I've known Chip for 30 years, 35 years. Haven't been engaged with him for the last 25. But he's a good person. He's going to do a great job.
Thank you. Okay, so do we, all in favor? All right, so we're gonna move to appoint. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you, Mr. Forstall. Madam Clerk, new business?
All right, new business number 1 is the monthly financials with budget to actual comparisons from our finance director, but he is absent tonight.
He was absent tonight. He had some family issues that he had to attend to.
Okay. New business number 2, resetting the April 7th, 2021 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
I set this on there before the resolution was offered, so I'll withdraw new business number 2.
New business number 2 has been withdrawn.
And new business number 3, Planning and Zoning Commission member removals, nominations, and appointments.
So I have two nominations for, We're gonna just do nominations tonight.
Just for clarification, we had 2 Planning and Zoning Commission members resign.
Okay.
The board chairman, Mr. Medio, resigned, and the board vice chairman, Mr. Velez, resigned, and so this is filling those positions, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I have 2 appointments up that I'd like to appoint. One would be Gawain Grilletta, and number 2 would be Patrick Peppo. Okay, we can now open a public hearing if anyone can test those 2 nominations. Wait, can I bring you up just 1 second? Give me 1 second. So let's vote on this. Okay, so.
He wants
Just
to-
1 second. That's all. Just wanted to vote.
He wants to come up and speak.
Oh
on
yeah, well
the
come on.
nomination.
You know what? You deserve the podium. Listen,
I think
Mr.
I think it's prudent too, because I think you worked with Mr. Peppo before.
And Mr. Medio has been a credible member of our community, and I am so thankful for his service and time. He's been incredible for our P&Z board, but it's very unfortunate that he will be seeking shelter elsewhere.
Yeah, I thought it was comical when people were like, we're dealing with this colonial for like 5 years. I'm like, talking about like 15. So yeah, Michael Amedio, live at 49 Crescione. I know about some of the things that were said. I've actually talked to a few of y'all in the room. We talked about succession plan, Maurizio, talked to a majority of the council, the mayor, chief. I would like to say I appreciate the opportunity that was given to me to serve the city for so long. I found it very difficult at times. I found it very fun at times. I found it very satisfying at times. For those of you who were at the last council meeting, I started to break parliamentary procedure. I was breaking Robert's Rules of Order as far as how I was handling my personal conduct. I have intentions of moving out of the city, and I thought, so with a heavy heart, I felt like it was the only right thing to do was to resign, knowing that I had 1 foot out the door and I would possibly be making decisions for citizens that have to stay while I am evacuating the city. Taking on a few more burdens, I wasn't able to give 110% of my time that the citizens deserved, and I felt like it was somewhat of a conflict of interest for me to continue to serve on the board, especially having a short fuse at the last meeting. We were very transparent. So I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you all for all having an open ear and always made time, citizens, fire chief, police chief, everybody, the city clerk. So appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for serving. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike, for everything.
You're welcome. So, and also, if you need anything, feel free to reach out.
And we'd also like to thank you to your co-chair, Mr. Dale Velez. He was an incredible member of the Planning and Zoning. We definitely thank him for his service, and
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate that the series of events that happened after resigning. It is a very tangled web with Colonial, and I believe it's a far road from being over, as they say. And I believe that the development is a good thing for the city, as long as it's not at the expense of the citizens, which I hope it won't be. good luck to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So getting back, I don't have a problem with either one. Oh, I'm sorry.
You better not say good riddance.
No. Maurizio Francesco on 239 West Avenue, Planning and Zoning. I just, again, like last meeting, I always encourage everyone to come to Planning and Zoning. It's your chance to voice your opinions, your concerns. You know, after last week's meeting, we stood outside and talked about an hour, a bunch of us. And I agree, just the transparency needs to be there. And we were talking with Patrick and put this on Facebook. I actually agree with Patrick Peppo. Okay, so start putting it out there right now. You know, just he had a lot of concerns because of, you know, things that happened in the past. And I know Mr. McCarron has been here for about 20 months, just probably as long as I've been on the planning and zoning. And so just keeping it, just putting the information out there, keeping the public informed so there's nothing hidden. You know, people are concerned. I'm concerned for them as well. And that's my job as well, to address those concerns. Again, people can reach me, contact me. I've had several people contact me who I've met online, talked, gave my phone number. You know, maybe they're not comfortable coming up here, or maybe not comfortable, you know, reaching out to y'all. That's what I'm here for. If you have a question or a concern, reach out to me. You can't, it's not hard to find me. Not hard to find me. And you can ask any of these people here. You know, they're welcome to give out my phone number. I don't mind, and I don't mind talking to somebody if they have a concern about what goes on at planning and zoning. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Councilman Johnson.
Okay, so like I said, with these two people, I know them, they're good people, I know they'll do good for the city. My question is did Pat sit out long enough to be able to sit again?
Yes.
Okay. That was my concern, that's all. Yeah.
Okay, so I have two appointments up for adoption.
Second.
All right. Moved by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. So moved. Both are appointed. Thank you, Mr. Grilletta, and thank you, Mr. Peppo. We will enjoy your future service. Madam Clerk?
Address the council.
Good evening. Todd St. Cyr, Fire Chief of the City of Harahan.
Oh, Lord. Ladies. We love you, brother. We love you.
I'd like to thank Councilman Bonanno for his offer for the money for the radios. It's a big deal for us. Our equipment is in deplorable condition. It has been in service for quite a while. They don't last forever. We wish they did, but they don't, and that's a very big offer, and we do appreciate it, and we look forward to getting that equipment and putting it in service, and look forward to him passing that at the parish level and making it available for us. So I'd like to say that. I'd also like to thank the citizens and the council for the support over the last few months.
Todd, can you give us an update on the new fire truck?
It is still paperwork. It is not a new fire truck yet. We expect that they'll start building it within the next 2 months. It should be about a 3-month process, and we'll get daily updates. We did make a trip to Wisconsin. We spent 2 days at the table with engineers and went out into the shop and looked at everything that we talked about, all the different things. We did make a few changes that, in my opinion, and the opinion of the crew that I had with us, made for a better fire truck. Money kind of equaled out at the end. I was a little concerned about that. You know, we kind of just did everything, and I told them, I said, you know, don't be concerned with the money right now. Let's make the changes that's right for this truck, and let's see where it falls out in the end, because we cut some things, added some things, changed the way that the bed design was done, but we put a lot of work into it. We probably put a good 12 hours in at the table and going back and forth. You know, we toured the plant. It's a beautiful facility. They work hard. They got a great system. you know, COVID, the way that they cross-train their people and make them work different parts of the plant. Even when they had 400 employees out during COVID, it didn't affect them. They still built fire trucks. They were still moving them down the line. So, you know, we look forward to watching this truck being built. We look forward to getting up there and doing the final inspection of it and picking it apart and making sure that we get the best product delivered to us. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you so much, Fire Chief. Thank you.
One of them.
It's a big red truck. It's got a light on it. Squirts water.
I have a comment. Mary.
Okay, anyone else like to address the council?
She has a comment.
I'm sorry? Okay.
Yeah. I have a comment that Dane Doucette dropped off today, and asked to read it. He said, "It has been brought to my attention that the city's leaders are contemplating amending the Colonial Development Agreement, Ordinance 1777. Based on my review of the new ordinance, which will amend 1777, I find more benefits to the developers than to the taxpayers of Harahan. This new agreement, to be discussed tonight and probably further discussed over the next few months, greatly impacts the already overburdened drainage and sewer capacity. Under this amendment, the developers want to build approximately 126 homes when they agreed to build a maximum of 76 homes in a particular part of the development as agreed to in the original development agreement. I suggest that every citizen request copies of Ordinance 1777 and this newly proposed Ordinance 2021-8 that, if approved in its present form, may cause millages and fees to significantly increase in the future. If anyone would like to contact me for more information, please call me at 504-415-8815 or email doucettedane@cox.net."
Okay.
Yeah, because I like to.
Stirred, oh my gosh.
Because I like to.
I was trying to hold my tongue.
Because I like to have a discussion with the citizens, I'm gonna give Mr. Doucette the same, benefit, even though he's not here. Even though he's not here tonight. You know, I agree with literally about 2 sentences in the letter that he wrote. And it's that the city's contemplating amending the development agreement and that citizens should request the copies of the old and the new to review it themselves. The fact that he's claiming to know what the developers want to do is awesome, because I'm not even sure I know what the developers want to do all the time. And so, you know, and the fact that he's claiming that the city's overburdened drainage and sewer capacity, that's great that he knows that. I'd like to see the report that he got that from, so that I can make the same determination if necessary. Thanks for your comment, Mr. Doucette. Sorry you couldn't be here tonight.
I'm not gonna waste my time, so we'll move on. And are we gonna, anybody else like to address the council? Come on, address the council. Do you still live in Harahan? Oh, well, then you can address the council. Once you move, that's it. Don't come back here.
No, I don't want to ride the big red truck.
You wanna be my parade?
No, hey, so Michael Emidio, 409 Crescione, former chairman of Planning and Zoning. I know. Yeah, you're upset. I just want to say this, is that it's very, very unnerving, very annoying at the meetings when you have people bringing up illegitimate issues about what they think needs to be done at the property. Well, why don't they just do this? Why don't they just do that? And I find those questions really not helpful with the planning and zoning meetings. And I encourage everyone to go to the meetings, contact the planning and zoning board members, come to City Hall, ask for documentation. Danny's been very open about providing documentation. And on the flip side of that, you know, I can understand where there may be some frustration from the citizens' parts, where at times I felt certain ways about it not being a complete plan, in my opinion. But that was just one person from the board, so I did want to talk about what was up for first reading, but I don't know if we address that now or for. Somebody's like, no, yes, no.
You can talk about whatever you want.
So, there are some issues with that, and we discussed it a little bit, Councilman Asbill, and maybe I'll try to figure out a better way to word what I'd like to say. That way it doesn't come off as impugning or anything like that, you know, or. Yeah, you can read the text message if you want. That's right, that's right. But I don't quite agree with the proposed ordinance that came up for first reading. I don't know if that's in the best interest of the citizens. However, you know, if that's what the council believes and they represent the citizens as a whole, then best of luck. So, other than that, I don't really have anything else. I really want to expand on that, but really more or less tell the citizens some of these issues can be kind of ironed out before the meetings, and it also helps prepare the people who represent you and bring more questions and a more tailored questions and more information if you ask planning and zoning, or if you ask council before the meetings start, instead of just coming up here to complain about things and maybe have be more tactful. I'm sorry.
Is that his time up?
It's all right. No, kick me off. I want to be treated like the rest of them. I'm getting on with a rant, but I'm gonna let it go.
Thank
you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you,
Thank
Mike.
you.
All right, Secretary's report for March. Total revenues, $610,889. And reports.
Okay, Chief Walker?
Harahan Police Department stats for the month of March 2021. We had 869 calls for service. There were 10 accidents, 149 citations issued for 243 different charges. We had 15 patrol requests. Arrests for the month for narcotics were 15, charges were 20, 5 were felony, 5 misdemeanor, and 10 city charges. Number of other arrests were 32. Other charges amounted to 60. There were 9 felonies, 39 misdemeanors, 11 city, and 1 traffic. Persons and property crimes for March: no murders, no rapes, 1 robbery, no residential burglaries, no non-residential burglaries, no attempted burglary, no motor vehicle thefts, no attempted motor vehicle thefts. We had 2 larceny thefts and 7 assaults. Again, happy Mother's Day.
Chief Sing's here. Councilman Asbill? Oh, you want to go backwards? We'll go backwards. Councilman Wheeler? No.
No, just one report is that the Harahan Music Festival has been rescheduled to May 15th, 2021. Oh, shoot, the time, 3 to 5 p.m., I'm sorry, at Zerang Park. After the music festival, several bars in the city will carry on the live music at My Brother's Bar, Bienvenue, Uncle Matt's, and a few places around the city. The camp usually has somebody on Saturday night. So we're going to make it kind of an all-day music festival event. Come to Zerang Park, enjoy the free music festival, bring some canned goods as your entry. And then after that, disperse and find a bar in Harahan that, that you'd like to listen to more live music at.
All right. Councilman Buddy?
I'd just like to wish all the mothers out there happy Mother's Day. And we're still on at Zerang Park, you said, correct?
Yes.
For the music fest?
Zerang Park, yes.
Thank you.
May 15th.
That's all.
Okay. Councilman Chatelain?
Happy Mother's Day. Good evening.
Councilman Johnston?
Same. Happy Mother's Day.
Councilman Wheeler? Happy Mother's Day, Councilman Wheeler.
Well, thank you. I would also like to wish my parents tomorrow, they will be married 55 years.
Sweet mercy.
And my mother grew up in Harahan, right on West Avenue. So she probably won't see this, but that's okay. But they will be married 55 years tomorrow. God bless them. And yes, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, myself included.
She got a presentation?
That's right. So, after the planning and zoning meeting, which didn't happen the other night, some planning and zoning members actually got me outside and basically said, hey, listen, you know, we have tons of questions that are going on in the community, but you know what, a lot of things are not, we don't really know where the city stands as far as the sewage treatment plant or what we're doing with drainage. And I guess in my time spending out in the ground and on doing the hard work, I guess I've kind of not communicated so well what the city has been doing to upgrade the drainage and the sewage and all our infrastructure. And so I was out on the scene this week, and in lieu of what our newest planning and zoning member, Patrick Peppo, recommended that we do, I took some pictures. And so I wanted to start maybe getting some pictures out there that people will see on TV to kind of give them a little bit about what's been going on. I'm sure you can't see it, but the first slide that's us meeting with the Lieutenant Governor. We're actually working on a program with him on the river. He's very excited about our program. It's very infantile in stages, but it seems to be growing really fast. The third picture, I'm not quite sure, I can't see that one. Jason, who is that second picture with?
The second one is Jason's side.
Oh, Side of Seafood. Let's not forget Jason. He's incredible. Y'all, if y'all don't go eat by Jason, you're missing a treat, I'll tell you that. The third picture is us with the Coast Guard. Also, so just so you know that the Lieutenant Governor, the Coast Guard, Merchant Marines, Pilot Association are all working together on one program, which we're going to try to facilitate a somewhat of a project on the river and try to reconnect Harahan back to the river and get everybody to really understand what the river means to us and how important it is, whether it be national security, you know, whether it be just commerce, or whether it be studying on how to pilot a tugboat. The next picture you'll see there is us on a construction site. That is at that's at Roseland and Wilson, and that's one that I'm hoping that expands on the pictures right behind. The fourth picture you'll see will be Queen Sugar was shooting here this past Friday. We've actually contracted with Queen Sugar. This is now their city hall, and every time they come to shoot here, it's a check, and I believe now they've shot in here 4 times, so they give us $6,500 a weekend to shoot here, which is incredible. I mean, that's $26,000 the city has reaped so far. That's literally cost us nothing, and they do a whole lot of remodeling. That's been incredible. The Southland Bowling Tournament is put on by Tulane, and that is something that we're hosting here at Colonial, which, y'all, Colonial is an incredible asset to this community, and if you don't patronize them, you should. Even just go by to say hi, because all of those guys are incredible. I don't know if he thinks I can read that from here, but just economic development. Again, this is what we're doing. You know, we're working again with the Lieutenant Governor and the Coast Guard. We also have meetings with the Merchant Marine. We're actually working with the Lieutenant Governor's team in Baton Rouge as well as Washington, D.C., because, you know, the new buzzwords are actually, you know, environmental. And so that's what we're doing. The new program that we work is going to be a lot to do with environmental. And this is some economic development. I know that was brought up today about the film being shot back at Colonial. I'll take full responsibility for that because I believe that when you have film here in the city, it puts eyes on us. And I want to know that that is true because we brought the Louisiana Economic Development Commission down. We put them on set. The producers and some of the actors came out and met them. They got to look at the screens while the film was actually being shot. They loved it so much that they went back to Baton Rouge and helped us put a strategic plan together. We have sayings here that we like to incorporate in our day-to-day language. You know, we have opportunities now. We no longer have problems. Harahan has opportunities, and we don't go in with a handout. We don't go in with a handout. We go in with a handout. And that's what the Louisiana Economic Development Community, they allowed us to put a strategic plan together. So when we go in, we actually kind of look like we really know what we're talking about, and we really do at this point because they've been incredible to work with us. Next slide, Councilman Asbell. All right, so we're talking playground now. You know, we finally got the new field up and going, that we have Dominican softball back there playing. John Curtis is actually back on our field. I want to thank Public Service Commissioner Eric Scrametta. He actually gave us a whopping chunk of money to put LED lights in on the playground, and those are all free. Not only is it free, they have a residual impact as well. The playground bill is usually around $10,000 a month when we're in season, and those bills now are dropped down to 6. So not only did he give us around $300,000 in LED lights for free, it's a $4,000 residual payment every single month, which we've done 2 programs now. So now we're saving the city $8,000 a month in electric bills. Thank you, Commissioner Scrimmett. We couldn't have done it without you. And we're actually working on a new strategy and a new plan. All right, so this is some problems that we're having in the city. This is something, believe it or not, that colonial money, the advancement on the colonial connection fees will help us with. And I welcome anyone to come out to these scenes and come see what is happening and how we're losing so much ground in the old sewer line. It's nothing that no one did, but the infrastructure is just getting old, it's cracking. And what happens is that soil actually comes through those pipes and eventually erodes them away till they break, and then it takes dirt from underneath roads. You have road collapses, as you see. This last one is actually between the 2 apartments on Hickory, which is a danger to the community. We need to get in and reline as well. But if someone falls in that hole, that is an incredible liability to the city. The picture in the middle, the orange pump, that is a purchase that the city made that we've used 3 times. Under the prior administration, we went back and we looked how much they had spent in renting a pump, and we realized that we can buy a pump for the same amount that they paid for renting a pump. The council and I worked real hard on getting this pump, and so we've used it 3 times, so it's paid for itself 3 times over. That's a saving to the citizens of Harahan, probably in a somewhat of a tune of about $200,000. Thank you, council, for supporting me on that. Next slide. Okay, so here, we had some heated discussion about not communicating about what's going on at the plant. And so what's really happening at the plant, the citizens and some people are not completely wrong, but they have the story of past and not the story of new. This council and I have spent tons of time working with the plant, getting in a plant, understanding why we're overtopping our capacity. And it's a real simple situation, but a very expensive fix. We're having so much subsidence that's coming through our drainage. It's actually getting in the plant, and the plant is actually designed, to eat up the sludge, but it's not made to eat up sand. And so when sand comes in a plant, it gets in the digesters, the aerators, and it even will destroy the bell press. And since I've taken office in 2019, we have been pulling these wells down, taking the sand out. And what's even been incredible, as we start to take the sand out, we started initiating new studies of, okay, in rain events, how much sand is coming in? Or during a construction event, how much sand comes in during rain? And we've now been able to gauge the amount of construction we've done and the impact of the sand that comes in a plant, because sand in a plant wreaks havoc. So this is the Wilson Street project, and this is again where colonial money will come into place. Yes, Colonial is 100% responsible for their own infrastructure, but once that sewer leaves that plot of property, it now becomes the city's opportunity to handle. And in that opportunity, what we plan on doing with this money is rebuilding a brand new sewer line that's on Wilson Street. And if any one of you have concerns about a sewer line and what happens, go talk to some of the people on Wilson Street and ask them how important this funding is going to be, because now they have sinkholes in their backyard. We have one lady's house that's starting to fall into a hole. We've been put on notice from the people on Norton Street that they're losing property. And when you're put on notice, that means attorneys are getting involved. And what this will benefit, which is we've actually phased this, phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 1 will be a new line coming down Wilson Street where we reconnect everyone in that first block of Wilson Street to a new line. As of now, I doubt that half those houses could pass inspection to be sold, and it's actually becoming very dangerous. When whoever put the lines, forefathers before me, put sewer lines in the back, I'm sure they never intended what was going to happen, and that's where they became energy servitudes, and now no one will come and work on this. We cannot even get a bid to have this work done because it's so dangerous, because the sewer line's 13 feet in the ground and you'd have to drive sheet pile, and the power lines are in a way. So it becomes a real dangerous situation that no one will even bid on. We've worked with engineers relentlessly for the past 2 years, and we've come up with a new plan, and that's to move the sewer to the street. The colonial money will actually help fund that movement to the street and give those entire people a brand new sewer line. Again, capital outlay. We're working on some capital outlay. When I took office, I felt at that time a fireman, and it wasn't Chief St. Cyr. It was actually a fireman named Gary Hopkins that really awoke me to the situation that was happening in the fire station. And I realized that for some time that maybe I should have been more attentive to those matters than I was. And I've been now working with the fire department and the fire chief. And I mean, we really have dreams and delusions of grandeur. I call it fairy tale and rainbow dreams. But I am not going to stop until we get there. And I truthfully think that it can be done. So we also work, and just want to make sure to talk about Senator Talbot and Representative Ilg. I mean, they have been incredible. What a team we have built. The city has built. It's just been phenomenal to be a part of what we have going on these days. I haven't seen it in my entire tenure sitting up here. He passed the slide about the gym. We're actually going to do a lot of work back at the gym. We're looking still to update playgrounds and fields. The gym roof is leaking. We need that money to do that. So we're actually engaged into a WIN retrofit program. All right, go back one more forward. Okay, and then also the senior center. The senior center roof is leaking. So again, if this will all come back to whatever funding that we can get to build other situations or fix other things, leaves the city free to come back and be able to fix things like the senior center where the roof is leaking and a ginormous oak tree is getting ready to fall on top of it. But those things are important to address, and it's been a challenging 2 years, and I think we're really for the first time starting to turn the ship and move in a real positive direction. And that's why it's so important for this community to get involved with Colonial and get on board. I don't know how much more transparent we can be. I know that every one of these councilmen answer their phone all the time. So do I. My office is always open, no matter what. I'll go by anybody's house anytime, day or night, storming or not. And because we need to make sure that everybody's okay with this community and, I mean, with this development. And for me, I always want to make sure that I didn't miss something. And maybe you will see something that I have missed. So, two heads are better than one. And, we'll always win and build together as a team. And other than that, I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to my wife. Actually, Happy Mother's Day to my ex-wife that are incredibly friends with me now, even though that is the oddest situation in the world, but she's incredible. And I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to Councilman Wheeler and every mother out there. Also, City Clerk Nicole Lee, who has two of the most amazing children ever. And even Melinda Doucette, former school board member, and also works for Dino Bonanno's office, where she has been an incredible voice for us, you guys. So if you see her on the street, you should thank her. So thank you very much. And Miss Marie back there, thank you very much. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day. You got it. Okay, so can I have a motion to adjourn?
No,
paying bills.
Pay bills.
Pay
I don't like
bills.
paying the
Bills
bill
paid in
part.
March, total expenditures, $703,075.29.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. So moved. We are adjourned.